Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I am Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. What's up, guys? We are pumped up for a big episode. And, of course, as you can tell, we have a guest. And we're going to introduce you to him very soon. Man, it's been a big Sport Karate week and an even bigger one coming up. So we got lots to talk about. First, we just want to let you guys know that we have the Virtual Fight Tour coming up. And as always, we are sponsored by Virtual Fight Tour. And we're super excited that they're just involved in everything we do at the Martial Arts Center Network. So, of course, we have their next fight tour, September 23rd, 24th. Put up or shut up. What's up, buddy? Look at him. He's kind of hiding.
Man. Zachary is going to do this, so you keep going.
So, Virtual Fight Tour, put up or shut up. There's $1,000 already in the pot. If you want to join in, put your money up, and we're going to get to see who's the best men's team and women's team in the business right now.
There's got to be more than 1,000 in the pot because there's a few teams signed up.
That's just that's all they've advertised so far. I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody else know. Yep. So there's that. Then the next day is the King of New York tournament. So again, all Blackpool divisions are 2 rounds. And I think also they're doing for the adult divisions, you can do two divisions, kind of similar how they do it in Waco. So
yeah, word.
Yeah, so it's going to be awesome. You get your money's worth, guys. Enjoy a good weekend in New York and have some fun. So
I mean, it's a full fight. It's a full tournament, but I mean, that really kind of seems like if you're fighting, why the heck aren't you there? You know what I mean? I don't know, Greg. What do you think? Because remember when we did so many tournaments where we were just like, yo, whatever they got that says fighting, even though we don't even know what the rules are, just sign up for it. Am I right?
Hey, the fact that they've got fighting, team fighting, putting up your own money, win a nice loot there, but then 2 rounds, like that's where it's at. I think, I remember, unfortunately, there's been some days going to tournaments where it's you bow in, you shake somebody's hand, and your weekend is over in about 90 seconds. So if you can at least give me 4 minutes of fighting, I'll buy me a plane ticket and get there any weekend.
Exactly.
Boom, you said it. Like you're guaranteed 2 rounds. You can do 2 divisions, and you get one of them. You get your division. You fight free, right? You fight free on Saturday if you do the put up or shut up the day before.
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about.
It's great, man. It's going to be a big weekend. Excited to see that. Good time of the year where we kind of have some downtime between all of this going on right now. As we have the U.S. Open, we have Capital Classics, and we have Amerikick. So in the NASCAR tour, there's 3 back-to-back, and then we just finished the battle last week or 2 weeks ago. So it's a lot, and then had that something different in September that's not the same. The norm.
All right, hang on, Zachary. Are you gonna say hi? You got to say hi. You can't just sit here. He came in. If you're listening, he just popped in, like right when the show started. And,
exactly.
Like, all right, no, you have to. If you're gonna be here, you gotta say hi, and then we gotta go back up. Okay? Let's say hi.
Hi.
Hey,
right,
buddy.
Here, come over here. No, you gotta say it right next to my mic. Here, come over here. All right. Now you gotta say hi. You can wave. All right.
There we go.
Okay, good. All right, now go back up. Say hi to mommy, okay? Tell mommy that you said hi, and then you got to go up to bed. Yeah? I will come up and snuggle you when I'm done with the show. Okay. All right.
How could you say no to that?
That's right. Oh, man. So, guys, again,
10 minutes. He'll be back.
We will go ahead and introduce. Since we already brought him on and talked to him. So, Greg Betlach, welcome to the show, man. So much, of course, world champion, JPM member, and, someone who grew up with Alex, and I don't know.
We'll tell a fair amount of stories, but we'll try and keep them respectable. Since we're both
I don't know, man. All the stories that I hear about NK, I was like, I don't know if they're teammates or just like, it's like keep your enemies close, you know what I mean? Type of thing.
What I hear about the way you guys are. Because before
it's just like a bunch of it's just a bunch of brothers. Like sometimes the people you hate on, beat on, rip on the most are the people who are closest to you, but you always come back and
time out. Be honest with this question I'm going to ask you right now.
Okay.
Okay. Is there anybody in a tournament you wanted to beat more than me if I was in your division? Be honest.
All I remember is
God.
Emily Cooper once telling me about a moment where she thought she saw two Rock'em Sock'em robots, and it just happened to
I know what fight she's talking
me
about.
and Alex.
Yeah,
compete.
that was awesome.
And
So awesome.
yeah, no, Alex and I threw down. We had a lot of fun.
But you didn't answer the question though. Who else? If I was there,
of course.
Okay, cool.
Well, yeah, because I mean, I imagine that if you beat him, then you wouldn't shut up about it for like every day you saw.
You said it.
Yep.
You said it.
So,
Greg, it was one year where Greg got me, I think, like 2 or 3 times, and then I hadn't beaten him yet that year, and then I beat him at Bluegrass, but then I couldn't really talk a lot of trash because I had to ride back with Greg and his dad the whole way back. So I couldn't really dig in and be like, yeah, suck, I got you now. Because they would have just left me at the gas station.
oh man, this is good stuff.
But I got a question though. I've asked this to a few guests before. Greg, you've done it all. You've had some of the most exciting matches I've ever watched in karate tournaments ever. All right. You've gone everywhere, you fought everybody. When you first started fighting on that level, who was the first person to really bust your ass and welcome you to what this level of fighting is like?
Yeah, I got 2 answers for this. First, like the first person who really welcomed me to was Brian Ruth.
All right.
I know.
I was fighting for NK Diamond Nationals. I think it was like my first year on the circuit. Like I only fought Battle of Atlanta before that, so it was like a school fighter and everything like that up to that point. We won. We beat some local team, and then I think it was me, Alex, and couldn't remember who Jamie Cravens maybe BJ, not 100% sure, but Brian was fighting for Straight Up at the time.
Yeah, it was Jamie.
And back in the day, when you're like young and you think you can blitz from like across the ring and you just have all this energy, and so I thought like I'm gonna blitz Ryan Ruth. I blitzed him, and I think I put my head down, and he hit me so hard on the top of the head, I felt it in my tailbone. Like it literally compressed every single one of my vertebrae going down my spine. And I didn't really look up, and all of it, I just heard ooh. And that sound like when Brian Ruth hits somebody.
Yeah.
I walked back to the line, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to make of it. I'm like, just don't cry in front of everybody. And so like everybody kind of looked like I was like standing back on the line ready to fight, and what they didn't know like inside, like I was just ready to lose it. Like I was ready to be like, time out, I'm done. Don't know why I came back to do this. Had fun, learned a lot. I'm gonna go enjoy my weekend. So
I gotta tell you, because I remember that moment, and I'll tell you the outsider's perspective from that moment. So Jeff,
Yeah,
I went to Greg, and I knew Greg because this is fresh off of football, Greg. Right. This is like Greg looks like Wolverine Greg, right? In more ways than one. Like Greg was just like he is like the meathead, all-American badass, the super athlete at this point. Like it's it. I kind of knew what he was gonna say, so I'm like, hey, who wants Brian? And Greg didn't say he wanted Brian. He goes, I'll fight anybody. I'm like, good, you got Brian. I'll take Elias.
Yeah, first mistake of many made there.
Right. So Brian, and now Greg approached that like everybody really should, like any young fighter who really wants to like test their skills. Greg approached that exactly the way you should. You just go out there. Brian Ruth is the badass, right? And Greg he did not back down. So that moment that Greg was talking about, here's how it looked on our perspective. So I think it was Muhammad Jahan Bosch who was the center, and Muhammad puts his hand up, and Brian just jumps the gun and goes right in between Greg's eyes. Greg doesn't move, right? Greg just goes pop and just stares at Brian, right? Now Brian is slow, right? He's quick, right? So it wasn't like it was like, oh, how'd you get hit by that guy? No, Brian is a knockout artist and he's fast, right? So he hit Greg. Greg just snaps and just stares at him with this scowl, right? And that was the ooh. Everybody's like, ooh, because Brian hit him. But then it was almost like, oh, because Greg didn't move. And then he just steps back and puts his hands on his hips. And we were like, who the frick is this guy? Right? He's bionic. How's that possible? So, yeah.
That's
I'm
awesome.
paying for it now, man.
But that was kind of it, though. You'd fought a few fights, you'd fought a few events, but that was really like, okay, here's the welcome moment to what this is really like. Are you going to stick with this thing or are you going back? And Greg stuck with it, really had a lot of success. That next year, you won a bunch of divisions. Then eventually at the end of it, found yourself a JPM member. And then, man, you just took off.
Yeah. What was the second one, Greg? Because you said 2 people. So.
Oh, that's right. You did.
So it's funny, actually. The second one, I fought my first fight of the next season and compete. I fought Keon from, I believe, Velocity at that point.
Okay.
And again, me not having a ton of tournament experience and everything like that. You know, Keon throws like those 360 round kicks and like all the back turn. I mean, he is like a whirling dervish and just
super
like
athlete.
Strong and super athletic, man. Wasn't expecting that at all. Right off the first get-go, he hit me with a 360 round kick, and I'm like, okay, this ain't no local tournament here. I better put my big boy pants on and try to figure out how to do this fight. So,
oh man, that it's good stuff looking back, especially just when you're starting. You know what I mean? Like just remembering those things. I did a lot this week as well, just thinking about stuff like. It's just funny the way it was like, and you got to get back in your head of like how you were really feeling at that time, you know, and now looking back like 20, 30 years later, it's completely different with everything that we're doing. We got several people that are on watching. Ben Stewart says, "What's up, Greg?"
That's a blast from the past. What's up?
Yeah.
Oh my
Alex
goodness.
Lane, of course. Great seeing you, old teammate. And Ben shares the first time he remembers fighting you at Diamonds. And he was like, man, this guy's strong.
Ben's pretty damn strong himself. So
yeah, I'd say.
I remember he'd grab me and I'd try to like spin away or run away, and I wasn't going anywhere. So
yeah, we had both of those guys on in the past, and they brought you up in their times that they were on Inside Scoop.
I mean, it's fun. I mean, Jeff, I was in the same thing this week. You know, you look back and, I mean, everybody's probably biased about their times that they fought and the guys that they fought. But, man, there's so many good fighters and so many, you know, fun memories just about, you know, banging it out there in the ring and everything. And you know, I wish I could go back and spend the hours watching all like the YouTube videos of everything, just because it is fun to go down memory lane and relive it every once in a while. So.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that.
When we went to battle, because it was like trying to tell people what battle used to be like, you know what I mean? And we even did a show about that, like what that was like. And as a kid going there, you know, so yeah, it's definitely cool just to think about those times. So go ahead, Alex.
Well, yeah, I want to go down those times too, but let's really go back a little further, man. How did this whole thing start? Because if other people don't really know about Greg Betlach,
right?
I mean, your dad put you in everything, right? Every sport, right? So how did this whole karate thing happen?
For everybody who teaches martial arts out there, I was the student you probably hated to have. Like, I was that 4-year-old that watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and suddenly thought he knew everything about karate. I broke a couple couches, some furniture. My parents were like, enough, you got to go do this somewhere. So literally this summer, like, my dad took me in to take lessons, and I basically never left the classroom like since that. So I started karate when I was 4.
So wait, what year? Do you remember what year that was?
1988.
So you started karate in 80. So you started considerably before me. Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
it took me like 9 years to get my black belt. Like, it took me a long time. But it's like I was also doing other.
You because that's a difference between karate in the 2000s or 2020s or karate in the 80s. Because at that time, and I don't know the answer to this, Greg, was there set kids classes? What was it like? You said you're
So
4.
it was 12 and under and 13 and up were like the two classes that we had. And so I was taking, white belt, gold belt classes with kids who were 9, 10, 11 years old. And like, I mean, in the curriculum that we taught, like I was learning the curriculum that a youth or an adult would be learning at this point when I was like 4. I mean, hell, I probably didn't know my left hand from my right hand, to be honest with you.
Damn.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's kind of cool to hear. It's kind of almost like, I don't know, Jeff, what do you think? Is it like almost like a breath of fresh air? Like, oh yeah, there's still people out there that started karate like this, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, that was me. Yeah, I started the same year, same age. I was the same one. They didn't have a class for me, and my instructor told me, sorry, I just don't think we can teach you. And then he called back 2 weeks later and was like, oh, I got a class now for you. And I already started somewhere else, and eventually found my way back to his school. But we joke about that, how, he shared, everyone, oh, I'm a surprise student, but he kind of kicked me out first. That's our joke. Yeah. So, yeah.
So when you started, Jeff, did they have was it just like a white belt class? Was it like a beginner's class? Did they have a lot of
Yeah, I mean, I was 4 and I was small, so it was like everyone was huge. But yeah, I think it was about the same way, like you said, like 12 and under, maybe 11 and under. It was just, white belts, beginners. I mean, both of us, we all come from schools though that were on the cutting edge of the industry. You know what I mean? Like my instructor, Master Arthur, he was the first guy who started like lead boxes and things like that, and doing different things. And same thing with you. You guys were Martial Karate. I mean, so we were probably, if we went to a normal karate school, it would have been completely different. You know what I mean? But we went to ones that were really focused on growing this thing instead of just, we don't want you. You know what I mean? Which back then, still in the 80s, there was a lot of schools like that, right? So.
Oh my God, it's. I mean, I hear about it because I don't think I got to see it, and hell, if I saw it, I was a little too young. But definitely, it's the blood and guts era of it. I mean, I remember watching sparring class and just my jaw dropped. And I remember going to the diamonds in the early 90s and walking around and seeing it. And it's, man, I don't want to say it's different. That's such a cliche, but it was different. So.
Yeah.
Well, what was it then, Greg? Because at one point, so I kind of dropped this out there. I was like, your dad, Mr. B, he put you in everything. So what was it that made you say to your dad? And I don't know, maybe you didn't. Maybe it was your dad who was like, what was it that made you say, I'm doing karate all the damn time?
I mean, you guys could probably attest to this. I personally, I'm 100% biased. I'll put my answer out like that. Karate makes you better at everything else. Me doing martial arts at age 4, I had such an advantage over other kids who were just starting any sport at age 5, 6, 7 and beyond. I had hand and eye coordination. I had balance. I understood how my body moved and everything like that. I had actually focus and discipline. I knew how to sit in an athletic environment and listen to an instructor, because back in the day in karate, if you didn't listen, you got smacked upside the head. They couldn't really do that in youth baseball, but it's you had other kids over there playing in the dirt, dandelions, chasing butterflies. And I was used to, for whatever time I was in class, I'm paying attention to the person who's talking. And so, I've always kind of gravitated in that and appreciated martial arts for that aspect. But then I think it gets down to it. I was good at it. I had fun doing it. I remember the first trophy I ever won, and it wasn't for fighting, it was for basics. And so I was a gold belt, and I remember that was the first tournament I ever went to, and I got second. I was excited, but I was kind of pissed, and I'm like, I gotta keep doing this. And so I couldn't wait to fight. I remember green belt is when you got to fight when you were at our school at this time. The second I took my green belt test, the Monday afterwards, I made my parents drive to school, buy sparring gear. I went home, put that on, and I was running around the house with that, fighting every coat rack, every couch and everything like that. You could not get that gear off of me as a 5-year-old. So,
that's the best.
So
That's
no,
good
it's
stuff.
it's fun. I mean, the beauty about karate is you do it when you're 4, you do it when you're 14, you can do it when you're 40. Like, and you make it out of it what you can at this point. I mean, make no mistake, I can't be nearly as competitive as I was. I still would love to go back and take a class. Like I'm starting to get back into stretching and flexibility, the mobility aspect of it. So I think there's always something you can learn and take away from it at any age and at any stage of your life. So.
All right. Well, then we fast forward a little bit in the Greg Betlach story. You're a black belt. You're a teenager. You are in all of the athletics. You're in track. You're a football star. You're still fighting occasionally. This is the aggravating part, Jeff. I'm gonna tell you this.
All right,
Because
I want to hear it.
Greg would just all of a sudden, Greg would just be gone, like in the fall. You'd be like, what happened to that guy? Because he's playing football, but the rest of us karate nerds weren't good at football and good at karate. All right.
Right.
There was like Greg, we got like Otis Smallwood and like maybe BJ, right? But BJ played the line, right? So, and then all of a sudden Greg would just show up like the week of the Diamonds, be like, dude, where did you come from? Oh, the Diamonds this weekend. Like, get out of here. You're not doing that. And then he'd show up and he'd fight and he'd do great. And you'd be like, dude, you're a dickhead, right? And then he'd go back and he'd play football, right? So, for other people don't know, dude, you a legit, like, promising prospect at the running back spot at the premier football program in the state of Minnesota. Eden Prairie High School had like over 400 people on the team. Is that right?
Yeah, I think like my senior year, freshman through senior, we had over 400 people. Like our varsity team had 130 people. We had to double up numbers. I think we had like 5 or 6 freshman teams or something like that. So
look at that.
Wow.
His football team had more people on the team than some high schools had students.
Yeah, my high school class was 175. So yeah.
Look at that. His football team triples your high school.
Yeah.
And so it's not just that. It's like, so what that said is people would jump and stop me if I'm getting this wrong, Greg, because I'm not going to get it all right. People would just be like, oh, no. I live in that school district. Like, no, you don't. Right? Because they wanted to go play football for the Eden Prairie program. Okay. And so
got it.
Greg is there. You had some track titles too, didn't you? Didn't you have some titles in track?
A lot younger. I'll tell you, man. The more I bulked up for football, the slower I got. So I was short. I was fast in the short, but them track guys, they can fly. So back in the day when I was a lot younger, I did well, but nothing really to write home about at this point. So
and all to say that was like it was definitely like helping your football career.
Yeah.
So then you won a couple of state titles.
Mm-hmm.
You won a couple of state titles. You're one of the premier prospects. It's thought of like, dude, it's not, is this kid going to go D1? It's where's he going to go? And then what?
Unfortunately, I broke my foot my senior year. So I had a pretty serious injury. I had to have like 2 surgeries to fix it. Happened one of the last games of the year. So in November, so probably the worst timing when it comes to like recruiting and everything like that. Unfortunately, a lot of the D1 schools ended up backing out. A couple were still out there. And me, at that point, cocky 18-year-old, like still thinks I can walk on water and stuff like that. I'm like, well, I'm going to go try to make it at the best program, in Minnesota. So instead of taking some scholarships elsewhere, I decided to walk on at the University of Minnesota. And that was much like that Brian Root fight, baptism by fire. Let's just put it that way. I tell everybody this story. I'm sure there's some people who might at some point listen to this saying, Greg, you've told me this already. But like in high school, I would turn the corner. Like I said, I was fast. Like I'd turn the corner, no one would catch me. I'd be gone 60 yards for a touchdown. In college, like the first or second week of practice, I'd turn the corner. There's 3 guys who are waiting for me and 7 guys who are chasing me down from behind. 3 of which probably weigh 250 to 280 pounds. And it's just like, a completely different level of athlete than I had ever dealt with. Like we had a few of them on our team and we played against a few of them, but like you put 11 on each side of the ball and man, it's
and everybody's
it's
that
eye
level of
opening.
athlete.
Yeah, it's eye opening. I mean, it's just it's another level. But I mean, it's some people are blessed with being big, being strong, being fast, and football suits them. And so it's I always think to this day, like I look at guys like Danny Woodhead. I'm like, what if I would have grinded it out? But man, even he's probably pretty damn special from the athletic perspective. So
do you look at guys like that occasionally and be like, Danny freaking Woodhead? Danny Woodhead can do this shit. I was better than Danny Woodhead. Did you ever do that? No, I can't do that. But did you ever do that?
I mean, you think about it. I mean, it's I've never put like my measurables up against Danny Woodhead's. I'm sure the dude could dust me in like the 40 and could probably lift out of the gym and stuff like that. So it's probably, when I really think about it, maybe not an apples to apples comparison. But yeah, I mean, there's some guys, I mean, you see it every single year in Sports Illustrated on ESPN. The guys that grind it out, they work their tail off, they get in the gym, they just get better.
Yeah.
And again, it's you go back and you think, well, I could have done it, but I'll tell you, waking up at 5 o'clock every single morning to go lift weights, to go run, then going to class, then having a part-time job, and then having to study, it's a lot. And so it just wasn't for me for the long run. So
playing football was a part-time job. Is that accurate?
For me, it was. Like, I learned.
Like, that's how much
quickly
time you had to dedicate to it.
Yeah, it was a full-time job once you got to college.
That's true.
But it's like I looked at football literally from the first month that I got at the university. I'm like, my destiny in life is not to play football for much longer, and I think there's other things that I can do. So
well, and let's just call it what it was. I mean, you walked on in, what was it, 2002?
Yeah.
So 2002, and only people who would know this would be like Big Ten dorks, or if you paid attention to Golden Gopher football, all right? But Golden Gopher football at that time, it was all running backs and offensive line, right? Nobody should ever even know who the quarterback was, although I think I can remember a couple, right? But so in the thing that the program had to hang its hat on is they always had 2,000-yard rushers almost every season. Right. Now that time they had probably the best running backs since then that they've ever had in Marion Barber and Lawrence Maroney, both NFL running backs. Marion Barber, who got drafted by the Cowboys, bounced around, played for the Bears a little bit. Lawrence Maroney, first-round draft pick by the Patriots, really. He was on that 2017, right? So
I think so.
He was. Yes, I think he got drafted in 2006, right? So, but Marion Barber, that's what Greg, so that's what you're sitting behind that. You're sitting behind.
What is that like?
I got a great view of every game. I got to watch as close as anybody else on the sidelines, but I knew there was no way I was going. And the funny thing is, like, you bring up those names. There was actually two other guys that played in the NFL my freshman year, in Thomas DePay, who was a 1,000-yard rusher back-to-back seasons, played fullback for the Philadelphia Eagles, and actually played for the Minnesota Vikings, but unfortunately got hurt and couldn't play. And then Terry Jackson, who's like the guy that nobody knows. Terry Jackson was a second-team All-Big Ten running back my freshman season. Literally, Barber got hurt. DePay was playing the fullback, and that was a year before Maroney got there, was the man. And then all of a sudden, Barber gets healthy. DePay's still there. Maroney gets there as a true freshman. And this guy who's an All-Big Ten running back goes to being literally fourth string. And so I'm like looking at him, I'm like, he was the star of the team last year. He's fourth string now. What does that make me, like ninth string or something like that? But
wow,
no, like I actually checked off one of the bucket list things in my entire life is I actually made it into a video game. So I still that video game. NCAA 2004, pour one out, man. They don't make it anymore. but I am the slow overall 65 rated, running back on Minnesota. I think I was 5th on the depth chart. They got my home city wrong. I think they said I was from Minnetonka or Bloomington or something like that. But I won the Heisman 4 years in a row when I played. With Minnesota.
Well, you played it yourself.
That's awesome.
What's that
Doesn't really
speed say?
count.
99.
Yeah. Cheating a little bit, but I'll take it where I can get it.
So
Wow.
let's look at that though. So now you're sitting back. You got these guys. Let's look at what life is like.
Yeah.
You're in a position where, and I'll be honest, I looked at it this way, like, you gotta be effing kidding me, man. Look at the chance you got. I did not see. All I saw was the 2 names I mentioned first, was Barber and Maroney. I forgot about Tapay, and I forgot because then they also, after that season, then they signed 2 All-American running backs as well after that.
Yeah, Gary Russell, who also went to the
signed,
NFL. He played for
the
Raiders. Was a 1,000-yard, and then we had a couple guys that weren't really as good as all of them. Like Justin Valentine played fullback a little bit.
Valentine.
I'm trying to think if there was another one, but yeah. I mean, it was Glenn Mason to run that stretch offense.
What is life like then? You're looking at that. What's life like?
I mean, it's basically you wake up and you go to practice knowing that you're never going to play. The best shot that I ever had at anything was special teams, which, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, busting your ass playing special teams for, college football is nothing to bat an eyelash. It's just you go from a situation where, you were playing every single down on offense and you got to play all the special teams. And then you go to a situation like that, which rightfully so, I was behind those people. But, it's just, I'm like, well, maybe there's something different. Maybe there's, maybe I can go, use my athletic talent, or, maybe I can go work out and do something different and not get the crap beat out of me. Cause I'll tell you, playing demo offense during practice in fall in Minnesota is not fun. Like, I remember there's one situation, and he was a great football player. He started, but, didn't ever go in the NFL. It was Mark Loftley. He was like 300 pounds. And I remember, like, there was this one play that we called. It was like a 3-step drop. Quarterback's supposed to drop back, turn his shoulder, look, and fire. I'm supposed to start at the right guard butt cheek and duck down the line. I made it to the right butt cheek of that guard, and I basically disappeared when you watched me on film, because there was like this 300-pound guy that just went through the line. It literally looked like he ate me whole, like on the film. And all I can remember is our head coach, the one period he decided to watch, and he's sitting back there twirling his with Glenn Mason. He's like, 34, you just got your ass kicked. Start the period over. Everybody's staring at me, and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm the guy that started practice over because I didn't do what I was supposed to do. So, yeah. Anyways, enough of those.
Well, hey, I'd be remiss if we didn't bring this up, since we're bringing up football days and who we talked about. Recently passed Marion Barber III, and it brought up another guy earlier, who we knew, Otis Smallwood. He and Otis is a national karate black belt, super talented guy. He was his high school teammate, and they played a Wayzata. They ran the Wishbone, actually, I think, but they were and he just passed away. Tell me a little bit. Tell me a Marion Barber incident, moment, story you have.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if anybody's read any of the articles. What you hear about him, like, he was genuinely one of the nicest guys. I mean, you could imagine a football team is a very diverse, group of people who come together from all different places, all different backgrounds. Marion was a guy that always said hi to me. Like, I wasn't just some redshirt freshman who was 5th on the depth chart. Like, he was a person who, no matter what week it was, what we were doing, like, he was warm, he was friendly, he, always asked me how it was going and everything like that, and made me feel like part of the team. And so, and And if you read a lot of the articles and everything like that, it seems like a lot of people had the same interactions. And it's just, obviously it's incredibly sad to lose somebody, before their time and everything like that. And especially somebody as nice and as genuine as he was. So.
Yeah.
Well, it's heartwarming to hear. It's great to hear because, and I don't know the details behind it. I do know that he was just a couple weeks ago. I think it was a couple weeks ago. He was found deceased in his apartment. So that's always sad to hear. So
yeah,
our prayers go out to his family, the people that survived him. But so you're there.
And how does it get back into really like being focused into just being on the circuit and competing?
How did you go? Yeah, what got you out of football? Eventually, you were like, "F you, football." All right.
Alex Dingman? No.
Tell that story accurately. It was not me.
Yeah. No, I mean it's you go like for anybody that's played sports, you go working out multiple times a day, every single day of the week, maybe taking a day or two off. Like I still wanted to work out. I still wanted to do something competitive. Like I just because I wasn't going to play football, like I wanted to do something that was going to push me. And lo and behold, like, kind of as Alex alluded to all throughout like high school and everything like that, I kind of dropped back into karate and had fun, was competitive, still had a bunch of friends that were doing it. So one of our old instructors, Kelly Worley, I'm sure everybody maybe remember, familiar with the name, called me up and we were going to have an intramural tournament. And he was trying to field his team. And like our intramural tournament had changed a little bit. So it was like a team aspect, especially on like the black belts where you had to fight on a team. And so I hadn't gone to a school. So like didn't really have like a school to fight with. He's like, come fight with my team. He's like, I'll just give you, the yellow shirt to wear, which I think was the color. And lo and behold, it's like I came back and took a couple, like literally maybe like 3 or 4 classes, and I hadn't kicked or punched for years. At that point, probably 3 years, hadn't taken a karate class, and then lo and behold, get back into a tournament.
Shop on everyone. Imagine this, Jeff. Okay.
A
guy who's just used to what he was describing, like just hitting the hole and like disappearing because 350-pound dude just swallowed him. Right? What's the worst thing that's going to happen to you now? You're going to get a defensive sidekick by skinny leg Alex Dingman at that point?
Right, exactly.
What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? Right? Like he was explosive, like scary explosive. And we're like, who the heck created you? Right?
Yeah.
So,
man.
I'm going to take it from here, guys. So listen to this, Jeff. I got to tell you, this is the funniest shit in the world.
Gotta hear it.
Greg is like, F football, I'm done. I tried to talk Greg back into football. I'm like, don't give me football. You give me football. Look at they're gonna give you this. He's like, dude, I'm done being a blocking dummy. I'm done with football. It was real, it was fun, but it was not real fun. Okay. So Greg did exactly what he was saying. He would hit me up at like 7 in the morning, right? Something like that. Which is fine when you're 40, because you're up at 7. I think Greg and I were texting each other at 6 this morning, right? There was no problem. We were both clearly been up for a while, right?
Right.
But when you're 20, 21, you were not planning on being up for at least 3 hours, maybe 4, right? So Greg's like, dude, let's go do some drills. And I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? And at this point, I still feel like I'm a forms competitor, right? That was done. That was done. Insert Greg Betlach. It was my last of my form days ever. Greg wanted to do, and people should really think like he did at the time.
Yeah.
He's like, I need to train karate like I train in football because karate's fun, and right now football isn't.
Right.
So he thinks about all these integral things that football has. He goes, I'm going to use that for karate. Right. So like the sled that you would use, right, in football, he's like, I need to make one for karate. So here's what he does, right? Check it. So he creates this sled that you can blitz with. So do you know what I'm talking about, Greg?
I do. And I don't know if you're going to tell the story or if I'm going to tell the story.
I'm going to tell the first part, and you were there for the other part. I was not there for that part. Okay. So he creates this thing. It's so cool. It's literally like a sled, right?
Yeah.
That you can put weights on. So he puts like, I don't know, probably like 35 to 45 pounds worth of weight, right? And he's got a chain on it, right? Attached to the chain are rubber bands that you attach to your waist or your belt. So now when you blitz or you slide or you move, it just drags behind you, but it doesn't come all the way up to you. He did a great job with it. Go ahead. You pick up the last part because I was not personally.
Are you talking about
this part?
Are you talking about the BJ Carnahan?
Of course I am.
With it?
Yes.
Of course I am. Come on now. You knew this.
Sushi, I assume you know BJ pretty well. So BJ, like, we're here, we have to take it, and my hand's like above the screen. And so
Yes.
BJ's like, I think we need to add more weight. And I'm like, okay, we can add a little bit more weight. I'll add like 10 or 15 pounds. And he's sitting there, he's like, I think we need to add more weight. And I'm like, BJ, I don't have any more weight. It's like I literally stole a 45-pound plate from my high school weight gym when I was back that summer. So BJ goes to somebody in the class. I can't remember who it was, but he's
Ashley.
like, why don't you sit on it?
Yeah. No, Ashley
like,
Peruzzi is sit on it.
Ashley, yeah. And I'm like, why don't you sit on it? And like, okay. So she sits on the weight. BJ goes running across the classroom. Ashley doesn't move. That rubber band snaps. It's BJ in the ass. And all you hear is him go straight into the lobby saying, no way. No, I can't say it with a straight face because I just pictured him. And like, I think he like ran out in the parking lot because it hurt so much. He was trying to like run it off. And like he showed it. He didn't show it all, but like from like the middle of his back, and I'm sure it went all the way. Like there was this welt that like was sticking out of his body like an inch or two. It was just gnarly. It was so funny, and I think we all laughed probably 10 times harder watching it in person than even thinking about it right now. But
yeah,
I mean, yeah, BJ trying to add a little bit of weight, maybe add a little too much.
This is why you never miss a training session. So when I said like, I know that story like I was there, but I wasn't actually.
But you weren't there, right? Yeah.
I wasn't there. I never missed a training session.
I've heard that story, but not like that. So yeah, that's great.
I was trying to get rides, and I was like, I'll just take the bus home. All right. Never miss a training session. Don't everybody ever miss a training session, especially with these jokers involved. You don't know what's gonna happen.
Oh,
all right, man. So look, so that's what life was like. So you're going back and forth. You're competing. We're going to tournaments.
Yeah, and with national karate. So like, what was that like with the team NK and getting, really getting yourself into to be a top fighter and then eventually be picked up by JPM? What was that period like for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's, fortunately, National Karate's got a lot of people have been competitive on the national circuit. I mean, Alex for himself, Elias Lemon, prior to us, there's several people that went out and competed. And so, asking around, but just tagging along. Like, I think the first national tournament I ever did after doing maybe like one or two local was Battle of Atlanta, like 2003 or 2002, 2003. And, I was always told, the best national fighters are the people who have the most success on the regional circuits, and then they just move up. It takes them a little bit to get adjusted. And so I'm like, what the hell do I have to lose? And, we'd always train. And like Alex, I'm sure, has probably shared many stories on this podcast. I could probably go on for days, but it's like, as much as it was work, it was fun to train with. Like, I mean, we had a great group of guys and gals that got together, and they were competitive, they were good, we were friends. Like, I mean, literally, we probably worked out Monday through Thursday from 9:00 at night till 10 or 10:30 every single day, and then once on the weekend.
But yeah,
and so it was good. Like, it was phenomenal to get that level of competition in the school to get ready. So it can't get you ready for what like game time's like. But so I went out to the battle. Had fun. I had a lot of success. I think, I had a couple good fights, fought some top guys. I fought Jotty that weekend. I fought Joey that weekend. Lost to both of them, but I kind of looked. I'm like, okay, that wasn't that bad. I think I can do this. And then it's just, the more you do, the more you kind of just tag along with people. And I think that's what Alex and I did for like the next 2 or 3 years. It's, we talked a little bit about this before. It's like, how can I get the cheapest flight to Atlanta or to DC or to California? And like, from there, it's like, how many people can we fit in a hotel room? And then it's just like, let's fight. Let's try to do as much as we can with this, and sign me up for team fight, sign me up for division. If they had a super fight, sign me up for a super fight, and just get as much experience as you can. And then eventually, I think like everything, the game starts slowing down. If you practice hard enough, practice should be harder than the game, and you finally kind of can put it together. So it's got, I would say, lucky a couple of times. Learned a lot, and was fortunate enough to win a couple titles here. It's the fun ride.
Hold on. Yeah, you're breaking up on us.
Me?
Yeah, I think it might be the buds, but I don't know. But hey, I'm gonna ask you this because I asked a couple of guests this in the past. I remember I asked Kevin Walker this because I felt like I knew, but I wasn't quite sure. I'm gonna ask you the same question. Do you feel like you had like a fight or a moment you're like, that was the turning point from you? Like, you're a very good fighter, and now this one kind of set you over the edge. Is like, all right, now you're thought to be one of the ones that's supposed to be in the end of the tournament. Do you have a moment where you were like, this was the one?
Yeah, battle. I think it was battle 2005 against Jason Borelli in that title, that super fight title. And the funny thing is I go back and I watch that fight. The end score of that fight was 15-14. And I was beating Jason 4-2 with 5 seconds left. And he hit me with a jump spin hook kick, tied it, and we went into overtime. And I think the running total of that match was like 11 minutes or something like that. Or maybe it's not. I don't know. It was something where it's like, I look back and I couldn't believe it. Like, I actually went and bought the DVD from Black and Blue, and they don't even have the full fight because they had to cut it up because I have no idea why. Like, the fight,
wow,
like, you missed some time in it. It's still like 7.5 minutes long. But I remember that fight. And Jason's on, in my opinion, Mount Rushmore when it comes to, sport karate fighters and everything like that. Yeah. And, to be able to hang with them and to look back and say, I was one silly mistake out of, winning that fight. That kind of like really solidified the fact that it's like, okay, I think I can do this. I think I can be competitive with just about anybody that's out there. So.
Yeah. And that was an amazing moment to a horrible tournament, right? It was a horrible tournament that, because of your guys' fight, it made it feel like it was really cool. It was not cool, right? So, but we've
shared that one before.
Jotty kind of did us all a solid. Jotty was there that weekend, and the way they did this is Larry Carnahan gets on the microphone. Awesome. There's a lot. We say a lot of like, come on, Aska, step it up. Come on, LC, step it up. I'll give him credit on this, because Joe Corley said, well, we were supposed to have a super fight. We don't have one. Larry Carnahan could have said, well, I guess you don't have one then. Now do you? He stepped up, grabbed the microphone at the end of the eliminations, goes, hey, all male fighters, if anybody wants to compete for the super fights in the finals tonight for the chance to win $2,500, come meet me at the stage. Or we all sat around and looked at each other like, did we just hear what we thought we heard? So we all go over there. Now, Jotty's in the final for the overall. So he just looks at it like, I don't got to worry about it. I'm fine. And he doesn't fight. I truthfully think if he would have fought, he would have just won, right? Because there was like, at that point in that building, it was like Jotty and then the rest of us, right? So, but Greg, you had a run, right? And it was just, even your tournament that day, like you were on a different level. Like you were just like, all right, man, he's looking good today. He's looking focused today. But that match, that did it. That sent you over, and you never went back. You never went to had like, oh man, I had like a down one, right? In fact, there was many of them where I'm like, shit, you had that, man. Alex Lane was on, and Alex Lane has a diamond ring, but he has a diamond ring against you, and you almost won that fight too.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, but everybody can sit up here.
No. Everybody can, but all that's to say is if all a person did was look at the record books at the end result, you wouldn't get the full story. You would not get it. You would not understand that truthfully, right? And I look back at so many times. Well, you know what? I think Jason came up to me. This dude's, he's awesome, right? When you say he's Mount Rushmore, that's exactly what he is. Comes up to me one time after you guys fight. I think it was probably the first time you guys fought. He's like, damn, everybody told me to watch out for this dude's punches. Guy split my lip with a hook kick. And I was like, Greg knows how to hook kick? What? You done that thing?
It was probably by accident. So if I'm hook kicking, I don't know if something went wrong.
That was the moment. Since then, you had a lot of moments. You had a lot of places. What would you say would be like, this was probably my favorite moment or my most successful moment?
It's tough. I mean, I'd have to point, I won a couple overalls, compete, I think in 2008.
Yeah.
One of the trophies I still actually hold on to. I won Dennis Brown's tournament. I got a chance to compete in Russia, which I thought was wild. We did this, team fight against Team Russia, which was just, it's like, I've never been in like a Rocky moment, but like that was like my Rocky moment where it's like,
what do you mean?
Everybody in the arena is like cheering against you. And like, we had this small team of like Team USA. There's like 11 of us that like actually was cheering. And it's just a surreal experience.
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, we've had gotten close in the Irish Open a couple times. Austrian Classic. I mean, it's that. I mean, I don't know if I'm saying lucky enough, smart enough, maybe stupid enough to do a couple full contact fights. So, I definitely had some success doing that. So, I mean, it's honestly, it's hard to boil it down to one.
Right.
But, it's definitely a lot of great memories to kind of look back on. So.
Now, Greg, what year did you get picked up on JPM, and how long were you on the team? Seemed like a long time.
I was on the team for 10 years. I got picked up. I got actually picked up that right after Battle when I fought Jason. Okay. So my first tournament was Diamonds 2005, and I think my
Steve
last
Babcock
tournament
came up to you before you could leave the stage. Steve Babcock goes like, "Let me hold your hand, Greg. Here, come down. Here, I got you right here. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Come here. Come on. We're actually go to dinner tonight. Dinner's on me. I got you. Come on, man. You didn't even have a point. You didn't even take the sweat off your headgear, and you were on JPM.
Wow.
It's not. It wasn't a bad feeling, I'll tell you that much. And yeah, lucky enough, I think 10 years. I think Diamonds of 2015 was my last tournament, and yeah, I can't believe, man, 10 years on that team. Probably 12 to 13 competing on the NASCAR circuit, almost on a full-time basis. It's crazy to think that. I mean, even that was now probably 7 or 8 years ago. And I hesitate to use the word retire. I feel like guys like me don't retire. We just gracefully step away,
Yeah.
But it's been a long time. So.
Well, wait, I got a question. You feel like you could hit some people again? You feel like I can do this? Just wondering. I don't know.
Not any of the guys that are out, man. The guys that are out there are too fast. Like it's, you can give me put me in some 40-year-old people like myself. I could probably get lucky and maybe swing
the 30 plus and 40 plus divisions are fun.
They're deep, dude.
And
they're deep.
30 plus right now is
they're exciting.
Yeah, in some ways, it's more exciting to watch those divisions in forms and fighting right now, and it's crazy, man. It's nuts.
It's fun. So there was Alex and I and Elias ran it back one year, and I can't remember what year it was for the Diamonds.
17.
Was it? So we all competed as a team, and lo and behold, they put us against All Stars first round.
Yeah, well, we draw All Stars first. They got robbed afterwards, though, too. They should have won the tournament.
Yeah.
You know who they got robbed against, though, Greg? They got robbed against JPM, but that's
yeah,
just me.
yeah. So I'm a little biased when it comes to that. But it's like I hit Robbie with a side kick, like right off the bat, up 2-0, and then I like lost 6-2, 8-2, something like that. I'm just like, I can't even catch him. He's so fast. Like and I don't know. So I'm sure there's a lot of guys that are out there like that, and like that's the one thing. Like I selfishly, like I haven't had enough time to like stay on top of like the circuit now, and I think like what they're doing. Like I mean, I've heard your guys' podcast quite a few times, but like with all these tournaments that they're doing and like trying to showcase fighters, like that's cool to me. Like
Yeah,
it's
they're
what
really
they're doing
doing a
now
good
is
job of
fun.
that. Yeah, I think that's something that in your day, and I mean, really from that 2005 to 2015 range, that 10 years, that was something everybody kept asking for, you know what I mean? Wanting more. And it felt like right after that was when they really started pushing, and now it is, you know. It's definitely, they've done a good job at making it a big feel, you know, a big fight feel, or having more, you know, having more for the fighters to do, I think. So yeah.
So speaking of that, Greg, 2 questions. Well, 1 question, 2 parts. Who's a fighter? Because you say you're like, I don't really know a lot of the guys today. I'm kept up. But who is somebody that you know of today that you would think, you know what? I'd love to have that match. That would be exciting.
Well, I mean, Bailey Murphy is the best fighter right now, like from what I've seen, and if you're gonna fight, why wouldn't you want to fight the best? Like, I mean, that hands down.
Right.
Like, it's I probably get my ass kicked, and probably no doubt about that. But it's like, I don't want to be this guy. I never wanted to be this guy that got known for like ducking people. Like, I'll go in there and I'll go toe to toe with anybody, and I'll go down swinging. I probably went down swinging more than a handful of times, but it's like, if you're gonna do this, you might as well challenge yourself against the best. So, so I know I've watched some fights with him. Yeah, I've watched some fights with him. I'll be honest with you, man. I get more nostalgic than anything when I pop on YouTube. So I go back in the day and I try to watch some of the old school stuff. So
well, that was my next question though. Who's a guy that you said that you feel like I wish I could go back? I'd like to fight that guy, but he was before me.
I mean, how much time do you have? Like, I go back and watch, like, and we can even talk, like, different versions of people. Like, I mean, Pedro Xavier.
Right.
Just, I would love to see if I could even lay hands on him. Anthony Price. Like, the chess match that it is, Richard Plowden put in there. You could even go, like, when Brian Ruth just moved up to adult. Like, he was killing people.
He was killing people.
Mike Palmero, early 90s, just on fire. Like, I mean, and again, I could go on and on, but like, those are the guys that, like, when I first got my black belt, like, I looked up to them. And like, as much as I went to the Diamonds, the forms were cool. Like, I couldn't do a 540 or 720 to save my life. I liked watching the fighters, and like, those guys, just to me, I still have VHSs of a lot of the Diamonds from the early 90s, and like that, those are the fun fights for me to watch.
Timeout. You still have the tapes?
Yeah. I permanently borrowed them from the South Minneapolis karate school.
I permanently borrowed them. So wait. Okay. Now I'm into this. Now I'm focused. Okay, wait. They literally just on a VHS?
Yes. I got to figure out some way to get them on a DVD. So they're wrecking my folks out.
How to get it to a DVD, then how to get that DVD to a drive.
Yeah.
Because even like if I was to put a DVD in this, I can't put it in this laptop. Right? Where am I going to put it?
True.
Nothing.
Oh, man. Hey, so Greg, just going back to your JPM days, sum up just what that experience was like. Maybe one big moment or something
that was up and down.
You know, yeah. I mean, there was a lot, and I feel like during that moment, like you were like the leader of that team. Like you were the heart of JPM to me, is what I felt like. So
you were the most consistent. You were that guy.
Yep.
Yeah, it's tough to say. I mean, it's amazing having the opportunity to be on that team. I mean, you guys have been on some pretty phenomenal teams yourself. Like, being surrounded by the talented people that are there. And I think some of the funnest things is to fight with the different people. Like I always looked up to Damon Gilbert. Damon Gilbert, I told everybody, is like my karate sport superhero, you know, and like to get on fight on the same team as him was just awesome. And probably the thing that I will say that stands out the most, and just because it was like the adversity that we overcame, I think it was 2006. So I was still fighting on the B team because I was relatively new. And I think like Preston, I think Alex Lane were on the team before, and there was somebody else who was fighting on the A team. Then it was me, Elias, and
Trevor.
I think it was Jesse Goldberg.
Well, Trevor was still
fighting on the B team. And Elias got DQ'd because he like punted some dude in the face the first round of the U.S. Opens. And Damon Gilbert literally was getting off a plane, and they're like, Damon, get your gear on. You got to get on this team. And we actually, as the B team, went and won that tournament. Like we went through our entire bracket. We faced the other JPM team on stage, and we beat the other JPM team. And that's like with Elias getting DQ'd first round, with Damon like literally coming off a plane and fighting 4 or 5 rounds of team fights on a Friday afternoon.
Wow.
So that was just fun, just because I remember just kind of the unique experience of me being still relatively new on the team, and then all that stuff kind of coming together. So
that's cool, man. That's cool. That's good stuff. Oh man. And as far as why, what are you currently doing now? What is life like now?
Yeah, I got much like Alex. I got 3 kids. I got 3 daughters. So they're 2.
Oh man.
I got a 4-year-old birthday coming up in about a week here that we're going to be celebrating. I got a will-be 6-year-old. So we got a busy household. I wouldn't change it for anything. I love chasing my kids around. Love, watching them play sports. They're into hockey, which, go figure. I have no idea why.
How did that happen? Because when you got Jules in hockey, I remember thinking like she was like 3, wasn't she?
Yeah, I mean everybody in our neighborhood plays hockey. So like when it snows up here, people go out to the ice skating rink. So she just wants to play with everybody in the neighborhood. So yeah, so it's. I got to tell this story. You guys will get a kick out of this. So like me being the dad, like wanting to help out, like this was her first like official year of like team hockey. Like she's done like the camps and like the learn how to skate programs. So we get an email from her coach just saying, hey, so-and-so, I'm the coach. These are the other assistant coaches. This is how practice is going to work. We're looking for blah, 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 blah. I send him an email and I'm just like, hey, Marty, I don't have any hockey experience. Would love to be a helper. I got some skates. I'm not very good, but if you need anybody to get out there and help, let me know. He goes, oh, thank you for helping. I come to find out, like, the coach of her team is a guy by the name of Marty Surdich, who won the Hobie Baker back for Colorado College, which is the award for the best Division I hockey player. He played pros. And I'm thinking this guy's here watching my email being like, who the hell is this guy? And like, no, we don't need his help. I'm going to teach him as much about hockey as I'm going to be teaching these 5- and 6-year-old girls. So, so yeah, needless to say, awesome. I just was a spectator. I sat in the crowd and I watched, 5- and 6-year-olds play hockey.
Only Edina could do this. So where Greg lives in like the one of the hockiest towns in America, right? So how is that possible? It's cool. It's whatever.
Yeah.
So, you live in the hockiest town in America.
Yeah. So no, it's been fun, man. And in fact, before world got all crazy with the pandemic and everything, I went back to our local school. I was fighting with some of the kids here a little bit, trying to get back into it a little bit. I think I need to do it a little bit more. It's funny. Jeff Seidner sent me a picture. I guess I'm still in a Macho magazine somewhere where I actually had hair and stuff like that. So,
yeah, I posted some of those pictures today. So,
oh man, good old times. Yeah.
Yes.
I guess I collect my royalties.
So, question.
Yep.
Well, we'll wrap it up too. So you hinted at this, G. You said like, man, you never really retired. What would it look like if you did fight again? I don't mean like you're fighting. Like, what would it have to take for you to be like, yeah, I'm gonna fight at that event?
I mean, it wouldn't take a lot. Like I wouldn't fight unless I knew I could be competitive. Like,
wait, I didn't hear that. So you wouldn't fight unless what? You wouldn't fight unless...
I couldn't fight unless I couldn't be competitive.
Unless you could be competitive. All right.
Yeah. Turn Siri off here there. I need to I realized that about myself. I can't turn that part of my brain off. Like, I can't just do something for fun. Can't play golf for fun. I'm terrible at golf. I think I should be good, which don't know how that thought ever entered my head. But it's like if I did karate, I wouldn't want to just do it for fun. Like, I'd want to go and I'd want to be competitive. So I would love to go and find some people to train with and everything like that. It's just, I mean, the older you get, the more stuff you've got going on. It's just the ability to find the time. And I remember how much time and energy it took to get to where I was before, and I could never get back there. But I would imagine that it would take a lot of time and energy just to get to a point where I could be competitive and, you know, feel like a level where I would completely embarrass myself. So
Diamonds
I
this
don't
year.
know.
All right.
What guy? Yeah, would you so this year?
Diamonds this year.
Well, maybe you never know. We'll see.
That's right.
I'll do you a solid. I said the same thing though, right? Right, Jeff? Did I not say the same thing? Like, who freaking retires? I have actually enjoyed. You've done this before though. I've enjoyed being at karate tournaments and just being like, I don't gotta do shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't gotta do nothing.
I know.
This is the first time ever I've had that. So you've done that a few times, but you did that with the mindset of I'm not done. Right? I think AKA 2020. That was my first one when I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna fight. And then when I didn't fight, I'm like, oh, I love the way this felt. I'm not fighting anymore. Right? So y'all guys wait. Y'all guys can wait. I'm not waiting. I would fight. I'll fight Greg though.
See,
no, this is what here's how I'll put you. If you say like, all right, Alex, next year we're doing this thing, I'll do it. I'm not gonna like it, but I'll do it if you want to do it. Well, I think we can run it back. What did I do?
Yeah.
Oh,
be a lot
man.
of growing.
It's gonna be like in a secret dojo somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, there'd be a lot of ice and ibuprofen that would be needed probably after that goes down.
Oh my gosh, I pop that stuff like Skittles now. Are you kidding me? No, ain't no guy north of 40 with 3 kids gets up, works out. Dude, I'm gonna get up from this couch and things are gonna snap, crackle, and pop. Are you kidding me? What guy in his 40s has got like 5% body fat? Must be the most selfish guy on the planet. That does not happen.
Hey,
I love that excuse. I'm gonna start using that.
Didn't we have someone to show? Oh yeah, Keith, right? Keith Weston.
Man, he's a different animal though.
He is a different animal.
The nicest different animal ever.
Yes.
Right.
Oh,
that was
God,
cool.
Too funny.
Oh man, this was great, Greg.
Good hanging, brother. Good hanging. You gave me some stories I did not even know, man. This was way cool.
It's a long-time listener, first-time contributor, but no, you guys do good stuff, and thanks for taking me back down memory lane, man. It's been fun, like, and hell, it's maybe I got to send you guys a text or two after I listen to some of these shows, you know, every week and everything like that, and be like, I remember some or something like that. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's been a ton of fun, man, and
awesome.
we'll Diamonds 2022. Maybe we can rally the whole crew back and you know, get the old black and blue division back together.
About a couple of months. Are you for real?
Oh, it is only a couple of months away. I can't believe it's July already.
Oh, come on.
Maybe 2023. You know, we'll put that out there a little bit.
All right, good.
No, hey, guys, I can't thank you enough. It's I mean, you guys said you guys had fun. I probably had way more fun doing this, so I couldn't thank you enough for having me on the show. And definitely keep up what you guys are doing. It's been a ton of fun, and yeah, looking forward to the shows coming up. So
look at Mike Bates. Mike Bates trying to get us both out here in a couple months. He's trying to get me to break something. It's hard enough, Mike. I got to fight Miles every week. Miles is the fastest end-to-end blitz on the planet. I don't care what anybody says. Like, oh, that's blasphemy. Stand in front of Miles Bates. You won't have a defensive strike that hits him. But anyway, all right.
Oh man,
teams looking for somebody. Eyeball Miles Bates. But anyway, all right, dude, this is fantastic.
Yep.
Great hanging in. Tell Kate I said what's up. This has been another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I'm Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. See you guys next week. Thanks, Greg.